Hi, I'm Jeremy Goldkorn for Danwei TV, sitting high above Beijing's CBD with Koonchung, the author of 盛世中国, The Fat Years, a novel set in Beijing in 2013. Koonchung has been a movie producer, famously Eat a Bowl of Tea. He was the founder of Danwei, or City magazine, probably Hong Kong's most influential social and cultural magazine. And he has published several novels and books of essays. We're going to talk to him today about his new novel, 盛世中国. Thank you for joining us on the Danwei TV.
Thank you, Jeremy.
So this book has been making a lot of waves in China's intellectual and cultural circles in the last few months, even though it hasn't actually been published.
Unexpectedly, it did. It created a lot of noise on the internet, and some mainstream weeklies did some review on it. But it's about China, but in year 2013. It's about fat years. It's called 盛世. 盛世literally meaning the prosperous age.
And this is an old Chinese word referring to
Very
times of
old,
glory in Chinese
Right.
history.
It usually referred to the Han and Tang dynasties, the really peak of Chinese civilization. It hasn't been used for many, many years, probably over 100 years. Now people are using it again. I remember going to a post office near in my neighborhood, and the post office has these big words, 盛世. It's celebrating the 60th anniversary of the People's Republic. So this word came back, and I sort of think it represents the mood of the era now.
And what happens in this book? The main character is Lao Chen, and he's in Beijing. What happens?
Lao Chen is a long-time resident of Beijing, but he was from Taiwan, and he lived a relatively comfortable life, and he feels everything's going fine in China, like most people probably in Beijing, especially the get rich first and the affluent people. And it happened that he bumped into two friends who seem to be out of sync with his age. These two people are not happy. They think things changed, people around them become so happy with the present situation, they cease to be critical of the government. And these two persons are still looking for something that is almost a state secret. And Lao Chen, the Taiwanese writer, got into trouble because of these two old acquaintances he bumped into on the streets.
And at the core of the book is a concept about the forgetting of certain parts of history. Can you explain what that's about?
Right. I make it a very exaggerated case that people forgot a whole month of what had happened only 2 years ago. And before this 盛世, the prosperous age, dawned in China, there was a month of really harsh suppression on all kinds of freedom by the state. But people seem to forget everything about it. And only one of the characters in this book is one called Fang. Fang still remember it, but nobody wants to talk to him about it. They genuinely forgot it. That's what really made him curious. What happened? And he tried to find out. He tried to collect evidence and try to find out other people who still remembers. That is one of the storylines.
How close is this to the reality that you see around us in China today? I know it's sort of science fiction. It's set in the near future, but there are obviously a lot of parallels.
It's of course more metaphorical, but I think people forget a lot, and or they try not to remember periods like 1989. It's not a topic that you can profess publicly, and the younger generation really did not know anything about it now. And even for the people who've been through that, memory are distorted in the sense that they now think maybe it's good for China, That was not the feeling at that time. And one very illustrative period is right after the Tiananmen incident in China. There were almost 2 years of big chill. The economy cooled down, everything's it's quiet, and the suppression, a very, very repressive atmosphere. But that was forgotten. And people thinking that the crackdown was necessary for the eventual boom. But that may not have happened if not for recharging of the energy by Deng Xiaoping in '92. So I think periods like that just fell out of people's memory.
So are you critical of this? Because I mean, some people would say, obviously, like if you look around at this, what's the problem? Look how happy Beijing is. Look at these buildings. Look at all the Lamborghinis we see down in the street.
Right.
What's the problem?
Well, China is a big country with all the good things and the bad things. This is the first world and the third world in one country. We have the developed part and the underdeveloped part. Some people are getting richer, and I mean there are a significant portion of the population has improved their living standard even. But at the same time, this boom is based on harsher exploitation of the workers and the farmers, especially the farmer workers, those migrant workers. Well, we tend to forget about that too. This is the so-called China model. It's a very exploitative and it's repressive.
Do you touch directly on those themes in this book, or is it more done in a metaphorical way?
I myself is quite ambivalent toward the whole thing. I have a main character who is a high official, and he tried to explain the rationale behind it, and he made a lot of sense to many people too. Even the two protagonists who are very critical of him sort of feel that he may have a point. So that's the way novels can be very instrumental in telling the reality, because you don't have to take side. You can show both sides. I think that's why I choose the novel format instead of doing a commentary on present-day China.
You're asking questions rather than making a political statement.
It's more than questions. It's trying to give a sense of how people think at this particular moment in history.
Why do you think that this book has resonated so much with young Chinese? Mostly we see on the internet that it's been PDF copies of it have been circulated.
Right.
Many young Chinese intellectuals know about it. Why do you think it's had this effect?
One of the reasons I wrote this book is I feel that people outside of China, especially Chinese, even Chinese, in Hong Kong and Taiwan, for instance, they have a perception gap on what is happening in China now. But I always think that mainland Chinese knew what's happening, but they don't have a means to express it. They are not allowed even to clearly express what's happening. And maybe that is the reason why when the book comes out in Hong Kong and Taiwan and eventually get into China, some of the hard copies were sort of smuggled in, and then the electronic copies were available on the internet. Many young people downloaded it, and they sort of think, well, this is the text that says something about what they are thinking or what they already felt, but they were not expressed. Maybe that's the reason.
What do you think about the space that you are working in? Because I feel it's similar for me in the sense that you are staying in Beijing, you've been here a long time, you're writing books like this and publishing them, not in the mainland, but it's well known. You don't actually get into trouble. In fact, you have publishers like Hong Huang helping even to distribute your book. I mean, in small circles, it's not a mass audience. I have a website that's blocked in China, but I'm not harassed. I'm allowed to carry on my business. What's our relation to the state in this country? Because we're sort of tolerated, but not completely welcomed.
Well, thanks to this small circulation or small circle, this was not a book for every household, and it's published in Hong Kong. It's about the future. It's fictive, and these things all help. But at the end of the day, we never know. I don't even know what will happen to me tomorrow. But so far, the authority had not come after me. That's something similar to your situation, right? But we never know. Maybe it's not that popular.
Not yet.
It's not
a
that
mass
influential.
medium. I suppose you're not going to affect the workers.
No, definitely not.
You know, it's a small group of intellectuals. So is there going to be a movie?
Several major studio and directors asked for a copy of this book, but I don't think it would be I don't think we would ever see a movie about this. I don't think Hollywood want to piss off China.
You think that's now become a real issue in Hollywood, that they...
Why would they do it? This is going to be a more important market in the days to come. So I don't see why they would risk their market for a book.
Koonchung, thank you very much for appearing on Danwei TV, and best of luck with 盛世中国 and The Fat Years, the English translation that will appear in the fall next year.